Hey, how you doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to another time here. Welcome to another time on the book club. We've been reading a fifth book so far, and we're doing a second reading into the 10th chapter of the book today. So it's Business is Personal by Bethenny Frankel. That's what we've been reading for a while now, and it's the second reading. And we need another reading to finish it. So second, there'll be a third reading next week to finish chapter 10. That's where we are on. So I'm gonna bring up my slides here and we'll go at it. It's pretty much focused on the need to protect our standards, protect the standard of work that we do, so and not allowing it to be watered down in any way, because that's what sells us as a person. So let me bring up my slide. So I've been done this for the last 5 months. Good, we're getting to the end of it, so we can go on to the next book, which will be our sixth book in this series, The Good Life by Robert Waldinger and Mark Schutz. I guess from about next week, I'll start giving some kind of summary into the book. It came out here in February, and it's a book, community compilation from a study of what it takes to make people happy. So that's what we're going to be looking at happiness. That's pretty much what we'll be shooting at. So on our fourth book, we looked at finance, money. Our fifth book here, we're looking at business. Our next book will be looking at happiness, what it takes to be happy. And that probably just rhymes with a book by Ariana Hoffman. I don't think it's near me here. I was going to bring that up again. Oh, I do have it. Yeah, that's one book we're considering reading earlier on, our Tribe, but that kind of saddles between our fifth book and our sixth book. So we'll see how much of Ariana will bring up as we go along. But this book, being happy and business, and all three books kind of marrying one form or the other. But we'll see. We'll see how we go along with it. All righty. Thanks for coming along. We're just going to go into the book, chapter 10. All right, we did a kind of introduction to chapter 10 last week, and we had a good time with Kelvin here and here, and I enjoyed it. So what we're talking about, Bethany puts in a book that when one of our products is the market, it has to represent her, who she is as a person and what she stands for. And really, that's what we all need to do. That's what we call personal branding or branding, right? On a personal level, it's personal branding. Anything that you do needs to represent you. It needs to represent your brand, and it needs to be consistent, right? Because the market needs consistency. Not that you show one kind of branding today and that kind of branding tomorrow, that there's no connection between them. You're going to confuse the market, and the market will not follow you. The market needs a level of consistency to know what do you stand for, and that needs to matter to them. Elder Presley would say that our values are like our fingerprints, and and our fingerprints are different, but everywhere you go, people you leave your spirit, you leave a part of you there, you leave your fingerprint there, and that's what people know you for, right? Again, we have an unknown quote here, also quote here, which says that remember, every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. So every job you do, no, don't take any for granted, because it leaves a stampage of yourself in it, right? And I love Benjamin Franklin, puts this old printing press quote. It says, the bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten, right? This kind of close to the printing press. The printing press equivalent is that the quality of your work will be long remembered after the speed with which you delivered it is forgotten. right? It's not about speed. It's not about price. It's about quality. And that's what Maya tells us, that people remember you long for the way you made them feel, right? After they've forgotten what you did or what you said. Is that emotional feeling that remains. And that emotional feeling is brought up by quality, is brought up by the emotion, that the qualities of what you are delivering, brings up in people, right? The people don't buy product because of the price, the price product because of the reason for the people who made them, right? They fall in love with the producers, with the marketers before they fall in love with the product itself, right? So if it comes from a good heart, that spirit will sell, right? Products don't sell. There's a spirit behind them that sell, that make a difference, and whatever you're into, you need to have that spirit. And it needs to be one that you can be proud of. Because if you're not proud of it, other people will not be proud of it, right? It needs to come from a place of pride, a place of ownership for it to sell, right? So, I believe I don't know if I repeated that. Oh, I didn't. I love that. And Bethenny would say, I don't take a smash and grab approach. I want my efforts to have a lasting value, which is tallies with the printing press quote, right? The quality, how you feel, made the people feel, will be long remembered after they've forgotten about how fast you did it or how cheap you produced it, right? Always go for the long term. Always go for that which you are proud of. Always go for that which you want to be remembered for. That's important, right? And that's what you need to protect in your business and in all that you do, right? And I do that, like Kevin laid testament to last week. Everything that we do is measured. We don't just do anything, right? In our business, everything is measured and for a reason, for purpose, right? So authenticity and quality are core values, that one needs to hold high, right? Meaning that the standards you set, will be tested, right? So therefore, you are going to have to make hard decisions, at several times along the process. Oliver Goldsmith says that to aim at excellence, our reputation and friends and all must be ventured, right? They're going to be tested, right? Because not everybody will stay with with your value system. People will want to compromise. People want to do good the easy way, the seeming easy way, right? The seeming cheap way, the seeming fast way. But if it's important to you, you need to hold your head up and wait for that which deserves you, deserves your personality, right? So sometimes it means that you have to say bye-bye to some people, some friends, you have to ask yourself what's more important to you, your goal, your purpose, your destiny, your legacy. Those are questions that need to be asked along the way, because people are going to test that which you hold to, you say you hold dear to you. Life will test it, people will test it, the system will test it. High Iron Round in our book, Atlas Strong, also wrote something close to this. He says that fight for the value of your person. Because if you say this is your value, it will be tested, right? So if it's truly your value, then you'll fight for it. If it's not your value, you will let go. Because everything you say is your value will be tested. So you will need to fight for it if it's truly your value. We say fight for the virtue of your pride, right? Fight for the essence of that which is man, for his sovereign rational mind, fight with radiant certainty and the absolute rectitude of knowing that yours is the morality of life, and that yours is a battle for any achievement, any value, any grandeur, any goodness, any joy has ever existed in this earth. right? So if you're going to hold on to a value, you're going to fight for it. You're going to have to defend it, right? Uh, so, so, as Bethany puts in the book, protecting the RAM in all business is about quality control. It's about making sure that things meet up to the standard, the picture, the vision that you have in your mind, that you set for yourself, you know? So you're going to have to go the extra mile to get it. Everybody goes so far, but you might have to go the extra mile because you have a higher standard, a seeming higher value. You're going to have to defend it. You're going to have to invest for it, right? So Wolf Park, a chef, they speak in this wise, that Bethenny captured in the book. And he says that I have run my business for 40 years. I do not want to work for anybody because I love what I do. So I don't want anyone to tell me that I have to lower my food cost by buying frozen shrimp or lower quality beef or produce that isn't fresh from the farmer's market. I want to run the business the way I see it. See, he had to stay the part, and not go where the way every other person is. He had to differentiate himself. And that's where the money comes from, right? So that is the way to protect the RAM, by keeping control of what's important, the quality of your results, right? You have to keep the quality of your results, because that's what people are going to differentiate you by, right? Nobody knows what is happening behind the door, right, in the background, right? You only know what you're doing in the background. People are going to judge you by the results. So you want them to raise the stake to keep that result, because that becomes a brand people will know you by, right? Is it going to be a good brand or a bad brand? They're either going to follow you or not follow you, right? So, and Bethany says, I operate from a place of truth, not fear, right? I prayed from a place of truth, not fear. Anything done out of fear never ends well, right? No, it doesn't work and never ends well, We have to operate from a place of love, a place of faith, right? Anything other than love and faith doesn't end well, right? So, as Bethany would say here, a place from a place of truth. The place of truth is a place of love, is a place of faith, right? Not fear. Fear is the enemy. Truth is the friend. Fear is the enemy. Truth is the friend, right? And Bethany would say you will often have an unpopular opinion, and it's hard to express it when no one is backing you up, right? But when something does not feel right in your stomach or heart or your mind, you got to stand up and say something, right? You got to stand up for what you believe. You got to stand up for the vision that you're seeing. The whole world might not see it, but that's not their life. It's your life. So if there's a vision you're seeing, you need to stand up to that vision, right? And pay the price if it means you have to stand alone, right? When the results come out, you will find everybody will be your friend. But when there's a price to pay, not everyone can follow you, because not everyone has the onions or have the strength, the heart to do that, But you have to then stand for what you believe in, the vision that you're pursuing, and nature has a way of supporting you or proving you right, we're building a big project out on our farm, I have to cook up faith each time I'm praying to support it, because the fear is lurking in the corner, wanting to take the place if I don't cook up the faith, and it takes the faith to make it succeed, because I have to believe God for the money, and I have to boldly, keep to the standard, even though it might cost extra money to do it. All we're doing right now, 10% of it could have been done. But then there is a standard that we're trying to eat, that we're trying to keep, so we're going the extra mile to get this done, So, but it takes faith to stay the journey, and that be you're having to pull together, right? The more you delay doing what is you know is right, the deeper you get in, and the harder it is to stop the train. So if you know something is right for your business, something is right for what you're doing, I mean, just do it. Make that decision fast and go ahead with it. Right? Let your values determine your decision. Let your belief this time determine your decision, right? And the future history will vindicate you. That the more you drag your feet around it, the more difficult it becomes to do, right? So some of you, what you do, as an entrepreneur, you just have to, based on your value system, your vision, your mission, just boldly do it, right? And you learn along the way while doing it. That's the only reason I got into farming. If I had to think about all the challenges I'm facing, I faced, I would not be doing this. But I came from a place of faith, and that's what's gotten us this far. And that's what will get us to the end of the journey also. All right. As that today, I don't have Kelvin here. He's busy on some things, and Andy did not make it or has not made it. But I'm not going to keep you all here. I'm just going to look at a few words that are isolated from what we've talked about, and I'm going to release you for today. So authenticity and quality are core values if you want to keep a standard, maintain a particular standard in what you do. Han is here, so whatever you do, you need to be authentic about it, and you need to preserve the quality, that you're putting forward in what you're doing. That's important. Hey, Han, how are you doing?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You came right on time. I was about to round it up.
Oh,
Yeah, but just continue from what we did last week, just talking about the need to have a standard for all that you do, pretty much the quality of the way you do your work, and preserve it. Because whatsoever thing, a high metric you hold yourself to, a lot of which we have spoken about at different times here, you know that there are always distractions that want to get you away from it. There are people that will probably look down on the priority of giving, to taking care of your children. Not everybody does that. For some people, their career is probably more important to them than that. So there will be temptations left, right, and center to distract you or get you away from what you have set for yourself as a standard. So all we're talking about here is the need to stay the course, on whatever it is that you have set for yourself as a quality, a standard, a value system, as it were. You get?
right.
Yeah. So here is just talking about in preserving your core values, you need to be authentic and you need to have quality. There's no use being who you're not. You are who you are with your limitations and your strengths. That's what makes us human. We're not just made of strengths. We have weaknesses also. We have limitations also. That's why we're human. And there's nothing wrong in being human. Being human is actually a strength, not a weakness, right? So in being human, we need to respect our being human, and not try to be what we are not, right? Because once you're what you're not, you become it's going to come out at some point in time that you're not it. Yeah, you can only pretend for so long, and when you pretend, you're telling other people that you're better than them. So it truly, not being authentic is a place of pride, because you're trying to be what you're not. Whether you're trying to say you're strong, you're a pastor, you can do this, not do this, but life is going to hit you and the truth is going to come out. Mainly for the public, public don't like people that are not authentic, because irrespective of how bad you are, the public would rather have you tell them, this is who I am. And everybody's going to respect you for who you are, right? People get into trouble when they try to be what they're not. And when the public finds out, they give them the biggest beating, for just not being authentic. I've had to read several stories of people, including Oprah Winfrey. And she's talked about that she's made so much money just by being authentic. I've had people who have talked about, they've made it in their career just because they had to accept who they are, and rather play to their strength rather than struggling to work with their weakness. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong in accepting who you are, and a bit of that, for me, growing up as an introvert who also grew up as a shy person, you come to Christianity and you hear all of those fake testimony of someone saying, oh, because I gave my life to Jesus and somehow the Holy Ghost takes away the shyness away. Yeah. In a few instances, maybe there's that miraculous storm, but that's not true for everybody. And that's not really the way God works, right? Because
Right.
there are steps to moving from being a shy person to being a bold person, right? Your mind needs to be renewed, because the mind thing, it's not a spirit thing. It's not like a demon, shyness is a weakness, no doubt, but it's not necessarily a demon per se. It's just a lack of understanding. It's a lack of the right focus, right?
Right.
And you need to understand that, and mere understanding that you can change that. But that's not to say that it will go away 100%. There will always be circumstances where it will always try to get back at you. But then because you have the right understanding, you can overcome it with the understanding, right? It's not a hocus pocus. This day I'm not shy. That day I'm shy. It's,
Yeah.
something that can be understood and overcome, right?
Right.
Yeah, which for you, like, going to therapy is part of giving that information, of what to do, how to conquer it, right? And
Right.
so it's getting that information. Same thing they do when they do what do you call that thing? CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, right?
Right.
It,
CBT. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's teaching the people, giving them the tools to help them against the things they are fighting against, right? So once you know those tools, you can apply it. And those tools are for you at that very early time, but as you gain understanding of the things you're battling with, you get more victories and all of that. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So, I created this quote by Ayn Rand also. She, in her book, Atlas Shrugged. I've read the book, I have the book, but it's actually a translation. I think it was written originally in Russian. It was translated to English, so not necessarily the best of the modern reading, but a lot of people have gotten a whole lot of value out of that book, So I have the treasure more from reading all the quotes people have put together coming from the book. But she talks about the fact that you have to fight for the value of your person. Every value will be contested, right? If you say this is your value, to be tested. If you say I'm a Christian, it will be tested. If you say I don't steal, it will be tested. If you say I love my
Yeah.
children, tested. It's just the way life is. Every value will be tested. So you then have to rise to the occasion, because when you win the test, that is truly a value to you, right? Because life will always bring things that will compete with your value. What you do in those circumstances and moments determines what your true value is, right? She talks about the need to fight for the virtue of your pride. Whatever it is there's a virtue for you, it'll be tested. Fight for the essence that which is man, right? Whatever it is, your mission, your essence, everything. Life will test you. That's just the way life is. So who you are in the day of your testing is who you truly are. Anybody can sit anywhere and say anything. Well, who you truly are is who you are in the day of your testing, right?
Right.
And lastly, she was saying that if you sell a bad product, it will cost so much more in the long run than potentially taking a loss by putting a stop to the sale. It's easy to trick people, sell them a product that's bad. I mean, you could win, but you've only won in the short term. If that person discovers what you did, that feeling will be there forever. It's difficult, almost impossible to take away that impression. So it still goes back to what my Angela would say, it's the way you make people feel. That's what they'll remember for life, right? It's not what you did, it's not what you said, it's just the way you made them feel. So if you make them feel that they're stupid or you can get one on them, that's what they always remember you for. So there's a whole lot you get by living up to your value, by living up to your integrity, by living up to who you are on the inside. I mean, it's okay to suffer temporal loss, but it will give you something much more in the future. It will come from the place you least expect, So there is a value in holding your head up and standing up for something, because that's what God supports, and God will bless you for.